Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and here on YouTube you know me as Epic Fantasy. And this is my latest tutorial. This is part 6 of the Storm the Castle diorama. Really interesting. It's starting to look like a diorama. Things are starting to come together. And in this installment we do trees, we do basic terrain textures, cliff, tufts of grass, and we do a little bit of rework on the castle, and we start working on the river. So, wonderful tutorial. I will take a quick look. I'll give you a quick closer look at this. First I wanted to say, upcoming, another blacksmithing project, the sub-hilt knife. So yeah, I've got to forge this up and bevel it, and it'll be done. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for subscribing if you're a subscriber. If not, hit that button. Always interesting projects coming up. So let's launch into the tutorial on Storm the Castle Diorama Part 6. And right after we do the introduction. Thank you. So here it is. Here's where we're at this stage of the diorama. Let's take just a quick overview look to see what we've done, and then I'll go into how we did all of this. It's 4 feet by 8 feet in size. See, there's the castle, the moat, some various landscape, a meadow, some felled trees, a cliff, that's the commander's hill, a new pathway, and we're starting to add some trees, although we've just placed them to see how they would look. Dioramas, origami, catapults, and trebuchets, telescopes, terrariums, bonsai trees, and paper games, swords and shields, and real blacksmithing, model rockets, animation. I teach the art of real creation. StormTheCastle.com. Let's make something. So the first thing we did was clean off the surface of the diorama before we start working on it. It's been sitting for a while, so we needed to get a lot of the refuge. We brushed it first, and then wiped it gently with some soapy water. So now we're going to prime everything and paint everything to seal it and to protect it, and so it makes it much easier to work with. We want to cover up all those various holes caused by the plastic cloth. So after some brainstorming as to where the different parts are going to go, we came up with a couple of major things that we wanted to do to this. See, we're going to put a path here so the army can march up the hill. And this is going to be a meadow, so we want to remove that hill. So at this point, we do the major things first, and then we start to work our way down towards details. That's a very common thing. So we do, right? So we're going to cut that and reduce the hill so it's flat. And just like that, we cut a slit in it, took out some of the newspaper inside, and then re-plastered it. So now it's a meadow. Now the road that goes up the hill, we're going to add in some cardboard. So there's a couple of things, we can subtract stuff and we can add stuff to get the terrain pretty much to its final shape. See how that makes a road kind of a curved road leading up to the hill. And that's just plastic cloth to get it to be part of the normal terrain. Looks good. And that's it. So now once all of that dries, now we can start to do our base colors on the diorama. And this whole installment, I didn't say it probably, but this is all about the landscape on the right side of the diorama. We didn't do a whole lot of castle work in this installment. We figured out what was going to be in different spots, where the paths were, where the grass and forest is. And then now we painted all the base colors. And this is going to pretty much all get covered up with various terrain materials, but you need these base colors. So, and then once the large patches were done, we started to break that up a little bit with some detail colors. See on the top of the hill here, there's kind of a lot of dirt at the base of the cliff. So see how it's starting to look a little different? It's kind of nice. It's not just all plain colors. The cliff. So now all the colors have dried. We're ready to start doing some texture and terrain. And I've got this woodland scenics, a variety of woodland scenics fine turfs. And we mixed up a lot of that to get various different shades of green and whatnot. so we can sprinkle that onto the diorama. See, so and how you do that is you mix up a normal white glue, 50-50 with water, and then you either brush or spray that on your diorama, and then you sprinkle on the terrain. See over the left there, you can see that we're working our way from the left to right, and it looks good. It's almost like a carpet. Really has a nice feel to it. But this is still just rough terrain features. We start to get into some of the details. And the path, and there's going to be a pitched battle going on in this section because this is where the drawbridge is going to go, right near here. So that's the center of attention, a focus for the diorama. I'll add some various types of terrain textures and turfs, some small pebbles, some talus. Let's get that path looking a lot different than it was, just a piece of cardboard. And bushes, we get a lot of options when it comes to bushes. You can buy woodland scenic stuff. You can use sphagnum or Spanish moss, paint it, and then glue it into place at different spots on the scene. Now, at the side of the hill, there's this nice section at the side of the hill that's we wanted to be very rough and with a lot of like rough terrain and brush and stuff like that. So we glued a lot of the Spanish moss to that. See, so you can see how we're starting to work down towards some of the details. Some stones, some large stones glued in place along the side of that path. See it? And paint some lichen on it, right? What stones out in the forest wouldn't have lichen on it? Yeah. It's a nice little technique with whites and greens. So the brush, you don't want it to be homogeneous. You want it to be green and white, kind of. So, and that's the way lichen is. It comes out like that. So you do something like this. See it? Looks good. You get some green and some white. It's a mix of green and white. More Spanish moss or sphagnum moss dipped in terrain features like this can give you some wonderful bushes, and this actually goes hanging from the cliff. And let's take a quick look at those tree stumps, because our besieging army is using catapults and siege engines, and they've deforested. They've cut down a bunch of the trees so they could make those. So now here's an interesting thing that you might not be familiar with, but this is electrostatic flocking. And this little machine here with batteries in it actually allows you to place grass down that stands up straight. It's kind of interesting. We will take a closer look at what I mean by this. See it, the electrostatic charge, that surface has got glue on it. So what happens is the little fragments of grass stick to it standing up like that. It's kind of neat. So we did a bunch of that, particularly in the meadow section. So now it's on to the trees, and we're just about done here with this installment. You know, it's been a year. Like, we made some trees, like this dead tree looks really good. You know, you're going to see that in the battlefield, maybe something like this. That's just a dowel, some sphagnum moss. And we also made trees from tree kits. Something like that. You put glue on it, and then you attach, and then you dip it in foliage. And one final thing here we did was I wanted the castle to be lighter. It's a little too dark. So we painted it a lighter shade of white. It's like an antique white to lighten it up a little bit. And that's it. This is where we're at right now, part 6. Been about a year. If you've been following this series, thank you very much. I got lots more stuff about it on my website at stumps.com. I got lots more to do. Part 7 will be the river and how we do the river. We experimented with a whole bunch of different techniques for water and whatnot. We came up with some really good stuff. You're going to like making the river and water effects. There you go, the deforested. Now, those aren't done. Some of these trees and whatnot, the stumps, are just placed just so we can get a look. And we've also been painting some of the miniatures. You see the little riders on horses. So let's take a look. Here's some other videos you might like. Part 1 of this series where the castle starts. In the upper right is the medieval village. Down below is my tutorial on electrostatic flocking and how to do it. And then on the lower left is how to make a waterfall. Thank you.